and then they're able to check their email, they're able to work with Project or whatever it is all on their iPad through remote desktop and see Flash. So for instance, when we go to give demos, even if it's iPhone apps, we actually bring our iPad to give a demo. Well, I could still use it to give a demo in Flash. I would just use the remote desktop capability to go do that.
Yeah. So there's a whole world of apps out there that apparently now are legal to access and download and install. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of what happens if more and more people start looking into this jailbreaking thing. Because I think just the terminology itself, jailbreaking, seems like you're doing something against the law. At the time it was. Now that it's not, you may see more and more people shying away from the actual App Store from Apple or iTunes and going into the jailbroken App Store. I mean, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen at this point?
Cool. All right. So the next conversation is the Flipboard. Yeah. And if you haven't, you've seen the Flipboard, right?
I have. Yeah. It's really, really interesting.
Yeah. Very cool concept here. So one thing to kind of relate it to is I always like watching a comedian where the comedian will start with a couple opening lines of jokes, and then ultimately by the end of the presentation they're bringing all those jokes back to the user and just kind of tying it all together. Well, what the Flipboard does is pretty cool, because if you look at like print collateral, which we all know, not collateral, but print media is dying. Local media, actually, local print is doing okay, but national print's really dying to the internet. The magazine is still kind of holding its weight, but people are generally getting or watching or reading magazines when it's really pertinent to them. So like fashion magazines, people want to see stuff in high gloss, creative magazines, those still have a life. Well, general news, isn't really, selling as much in the magazine format. Well, the nice thing about the Flipboard that they kind of all brought together is it's a magazine layout. So you're not looking at a website. You're actually looking at a magazine. The content is not just mundane news content that you could get off a website. It's actually an aggregator for all your social media news. So it's a magazine, and the content of the magazine is everything that's happening amongst your personal friends on Facebook, on Twitter, within LinkedIn, within any of the other social media channels, Delicious, WordPress, blogs, all of that stuff. They've pulled all that in so you can just set it up, and it's basically a personalized magazine of everything that's happening in your social community, which is huge. It's just a really, really big thing they're doing. And then they also have the capability to subscribe to a lot of other interest channels. So if you like cooking, you can subscribe to a cooking channel and stuff. First time that it's really a customized magazine for you. And the iPad's the perfect format for it, because of course in a regular magazine they can't print it a million times and send it individually to a million different people. But finally with the iPad you can still get that magazine experience, and you have next and back buttons and the pages roll over just like a magazine, but the content itself is 100% catered to you.
And it's a free download.
And it's a free app.
Mm-hmm. And it's not just, I would, not to correct you per se, but catered isn't quite the word. It's not like it's content that you would be interested in. It's your content. So the homepage, the front page of the magazine could be an image from your photos in Facebook, a random image. It's your photo, and it's on the home screen, and it gives you titles like headlines that are taken from your Facebook stream. So it's not exactly catered in the sense that they're finding content that, like, I've tweeted about being a drummer before, and so they're going to pull in drumming stuff, but it's your Twitter feed that they'll take the snapshot of the Twitter feed, it'll recognize who it's coming from, the article that starts it, it creates, and the CSS, I guess it is kind of CSS. The way that it presents it is in a magazine format, but it'll recognize what the headline is, what the tagline is, what the link is, and then it'll go out to the web. So if it's in Twitter and you're using like a bit.ly, it'll go out and grab the rest of the article and pull it into your iPad for you in this social magazine. It'll go out and grab the image if it's a TwitPic and pull it into your magazine so that you don't have to click on the link to open up a photo gallery and see it. it automatically pulls it in as part of the news article that you would find in any normal magazine. So it's pulling in when your friends update a status and it has all the comments in it. It makes it read like a news article. So it doesn't just have the typical Facebook. This friend said this friend said that, this friend said this. It makes it seem like it's one unified article, and it pulls in the name as if like someone was interviewing them, or if it was the author of the article. And that's the really unique thing about this, is that it makes it seem like a really true magazine in the purest sense, or some periodical that you pick up and read that's got images and photos and text. But unlike a website where you can click on something and go somewhere else, and click on this and go somewhere else, it automatically recognizes it and pulls it into the same application. So it's almost as if you've got one periodical in front of you, one magazine. You don't have to go to another magazine because it mentioned Wired and you're reading Us Weekly, and now you don't have to pick up the Wired magazine. That's the idea, is that you're contained in one app and it's pulling everything in for you, so you don't have to go out all over the web. It's a really, really unique idea and concept. I really like this.
As far as catering, I think you can also, it doesn't necessarily just hook up to your social networks. I think you can also choose what other content.
I think you can do like hashtags and stuff, yeah. But like as a whole,
I think they actually have like publications in it that you can actually go inside of
They
it.
have Flip Style, Flip Food. It's an aggregator of
So they have food and style.
It's every type of like subject matter, and they aggregate.
But you choose that though.
Yeah, you can choose the ones you want to
see. Right. That's what I mean by like catered.
Yeah.
It's not like it's saying, hey, you mentioned cayenne peppers last night on Facebook. Here's an article about. That's what I mean by catered.
Right. So personalized.
It's personalized, yeah.
Okay,
and it's pulling in content, or it allows you to choose content, and maybe
it's a configurable magazine.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
But it lays it out. The layout is the beauty part of it. And you've got to check it out and see it, because it looks like a magazine. It's laid out like one, but it's pulling in posts from Facebook. So it doesn't look like Facebook. It doesn't look like Twitter. It doesn't look like an RSS feed at all. It doesn't look like a blog. It's making it look like an actual magazine, and it's tapping into your photos and pulling those images in. It's tapping into your friends and their images and photos, and it's pulling them in, and it's making all of that content relevant in a space that it was no longer, it wasn't as relevant before. You saw text, but then you would have to click on photo. Now it's pulling it all in and making it a true magazine again, which is really, really kind of funny if you think about it, that print has been going away because of internet, iPhone, iPad, Kindle, all of the tablets and stuff. But now this application is now actually pulling it back together in the truest form.
Yeah, somehow I guess we would. I don't know that we could, but somehow we should. Here, Alice can superimpose. And let me show you a couple pages on the Flipboard.
What? Wow. Okay.
Somehow we'll have to figure out how we can actually, we try to actually project in the back, and then ultimately the camera just couldn't see the projector. So we have the projector over there. You can't see it. Yeah.
You guys are seeing the frozen hand right now, but now it's catching back up.
Yeah,
sorry about the
too bad. We'll have to figure it out. We are actually on a landline tonight, but no dice on the internet connection. But I guess audio is staying pretty consistent, right?
Yeah, Mike said video and audio was okay for him.
Oh, good.
So
good.
Maybe some people are having some issues.
And Mike's remote.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe it's just in here. Okay, good. There's not too much more we can do about Flipboard other than flipboard.com.
Flipboard.com.
Check it out. It's a free download.
Yep. So far, it's been.
Is there anything that we missed? I mean, I think Siobhan, creative director, Mindgrub, off screen, off camera. Just doing a little. There we go. Was there anything that we missed? I think you did a lot more, really kind of diving into the content and the idea here.
No, I mean it's bringing a print interface. It's that user experience is the most important thing. A lot of people with iPad are just expecting flipping through screens and not having that connection with their application, and now they have a personal connection with their application that's catered to them. So it's kind of cool. And when Kenny had his iPad and we were looking at his Facebook page, and it's a story. You're creating a story with your friends, so it's a more like personal experience rather than just reading something on an electronic device. So
I think that's a really good point, because sometimes people get lost in looking at a Twitter feed on the web or even in an application like TweetDeck or Hootsuite.
Well, the one thing